have developed speed, but we have shut ourselves in. Machinery that gives abundance has left us in want. We think too much and feel too little. More than machinery, we need humanity.
We know the air is unfit to breathe and our food is unfit to eat. As if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy.
Silence! The great and powerful Oz knows why you have come.
You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it! My life has value.
You have meddled with the primal forces of nature.
Don't give yourselves to brutes, men who despise you, enslave you, who regiment your lives, tell you what to do, what to think, or what to feel, who drill you, diet you, treat you like cattle, use you as cannon fodder. Don't give yourselves to these unnatural men with machine minds and machine hearts.
It's time to buckle up for making sense of the madness.
And who loves you? And who do you love?
Hey everybody, Jason Bermas here. And one of the aspects of artificial intelligence that I have really yet to hear from the alternative media that is taking place right now as the AI takeover doesn't creep forward and doesn't just march forward. This thing is throttling forward like a locomotive and soon to be like a rocket unless the general populace wakes up to the true agenda, which is not only cutting off resources based on a great narrative created by AI and enforced by AI. And when I say created by AI, I really mean created by those at the helm of programming AI. So we talk about water here a lot, especially with these large-scale data centers that are now being built. We talk about energy consumption and the price of energy going up in your area when you allow these data centers to come in. And the scariness that they also want your fresh water. Well, I got news for you. They want your autonomy as well. And what do I mean by your autonomy? When you hear phrases like, you will own nothing and be happy, that also means restricting technology from you in an autonomous fashion. So you don't own the hardware. That's why all of these AI models, to work correctly, are what? Based in the quote-unquote cloud, which they have tried to move the vast majority of the populace, the global populace, into over the last decade. With your iCloud, with your Google Drive, with your Microsoft OneDrive. You know who uses that never? This guy. This guy. Never. Not once. Like, sometimes I'll have a new device, and the last one was years and years and years ago. But I remember I had this new Android and just started uploading my stuff. Just cut. No. Let's take. Now, I'm not saying they don't have access, but my life, okay, my memories don't live and breathe on somebody else's server. Full stop. And when you look at AI, ChatGPT, they don't want you to have the ability, despite the fact that many of us, myself included, own a multitude of graphics cards that could run these artificial intelligence. Basically, there are some out there that you can download a database, large language models, and then run them via your personal NVIDIA hardware. You understand? And I've got mid-rangers all around. My most powerful graphics card's a 4070 Ti, and it's sitting out there. I utilize my 3060 Ti. I've got two of those. But I utilize this one so that I can stream to multiple outlets in real time at 1080p in high definition. Okay? That empowers me. That empowers me. I own the hardware. I don't rent this software, right? Like Adobe makes me do. I don't even own that. Been paying on that over a decade. That model's in there. Okay? But I own my XSplit software. They don't want you owning jack. And right now, we are in the midst of this technological revolution where hardware is becoming pricier and pricier at the behest of large corporations and their model of AI data centers. I'm going to show you in real time. The other really scary part about this, it's nowhere in the mainstream media. And if you're not a tech-savvy guy like me, if you're not in that arena of hard drives and RAM and graphics cards, and you're just only on the peripheral going, wow, that NVIDIA company's doing really good, does something with artificial intelligence, you may not realize what's happening. Oh, but it's happening, and it's happening big time. For the first time in my lifetime, and I would imagine in everybody who's watching this, technology is getting more expensive for less, not for more. In the past, as I have pointed out, things have always come down in price. The obvious model there would be video game systems. From your original NES that was like $150. Whoa, 150 came with a light gun and the thing. That was big. Dropped down to 100, and then by the end of its life cycle, you get them for like $25. Right? Same thing with the Sega Genesis, the Super Nintendo. All of them came down. The PS4, the Xbox One. Hell, the Xbox One, I think that premiered a little over a decade ago in 2013-ish, somewhere in there. And its MSRP was, I believe, $399, $400. I can buy one right now at a pawn shop for 1/10 that price. 1/10. However, now, with this new generation of technology, the Series X, for example, comes out in 2020. It's $499. Now it's $650. What? The PlayStation 5, again, starts at $399 originally. Now it's $550, I believe. $550. Do you see what's happening? And happening at a rapid pace? Now, those are consumer goods that are just gaming machines. Well, what about a guy like me, again, that needs this hardware to broadcast or to edit? They want that out of my reach. And at the same time, quantum computing and artificial intelligence that have been locked at the hip are getting more and more advanced, more and more commercialized for big business. And because of that, they are working out this idea that consumers should own any of this stuff. It's very scary. And not only is the mainstream not talking about it, I haven't heard the alternative talking about it at all. I barely heard them talking about the water issue and the energy price tag via these AI data centers. So we're going to get into all of it. We're going to show you in real time how RAM that I bought literally, folks, in October of 2023 has now more than doubled. Like, forget about your eggs. And believe me, I'm concerned about the eggs. I'm concerned about the livestock. I don't like them injecting hate and lies into that. These are all real issues. Okay? But again, this issue that you and I are being priced out of technology that could empower us and instead forced into a cloud-based system that will enslave us, very frightening and very concerning. And people need to realize this now so they can start to navigate it and navigate it further into the future. So thumbs it up, subscribe, share. We should hit 75,000 subscribers today. Are you going to be the 75,000? Not that means a whole lot. We're still pretty shadow banned. Again, we did get our monetization like a month and a half ago. I think we're somewhere in like the $500 a month marker range. Great. Obviously, we've got to make more money to survive. So, folks, without you, I couldn't do this. $5, $10, $15, it means the world to me. We've also got a PayPal down there if you want to be a bigger donor and you don't like the Buy Me a Coffee format. I also want to let people know, if they are checking me out today, that we did an amazing broadcast last night, a watch-along with Alex Karp, one of these techno-fascistic billionaire minions of the Predator class, and someone who certainly has a seat at the most powerful tables, including Bilderberg. So if you missed that, I would encourage you after this broadcast to go check that one out because it is very telling who these people are. MarigoldResources.com, buying and selling a business. They support the broadcast. Want to give them a big shout out. If you're doing that, maybe give them a ring or go check out their website. And then, of course, River City Reader, rcreader.com, a true independent media outlet. Let's get into it. D-Wave announces availability of Advantage 2 quantum computer, its most advanced and performance system. Now, this is the commercialized stuff, and this was in May. See, you see the new D-Vantage 2, right? And I think there's a lot of hype surrounding quantum computing, but at the same time, the reality is that the highest level of quantum computing is going to be behind closed doors via black programs, and D-Wave, who has announced this commercial venture, is really an arm of the government. It is one of those contracting groups that blurs the line, that has partnered with not only NASA, but Google, and claimed artificial intelligence, quantum computing supremacy all the way back in 2019. All right? So people have to realize they are players on Wall Street, and they have just announced the formation of their government business unit last week. Oh, your outward government business unit, because, again, they are getting us more and more accustomed to the idea that all of the things surrounding us have to be regulated, or at least part of the government in some way. Once again, very, very scary when we're talking about technology, information, control, digitization, automation. And of course, that road, not just to artificial intelligence, because, again, like I told you, locomotive train right now, but transhumanism as well. And they're painting it, quantum computing center, a benefit of tolerance. We've got this great quantum computing center in Chicago, and it's all about diversity and inclusivity. And this should let you guys know, by the way, okay, that language has not left the arena. That although it's more in the backdrop right now with the second Trump administration, the bureaucrats, the NGOs, the media personalities that were pushing all of this hot garbage, like as hardcore as they could during the first Trump administration to try to delegitimize them, and all throughout the Biden administration, it's not gone. Okay? And the Trump administration is pushing us into this artificial intelligence nightmare, whether it knows it or not. We talk about on this program the CAIO program. Again, now I haven't heard it out of not one other alternative media personality. Why? I'm not that smart, guys. Like, seriously. I can read at a 5th grade level. I have decent pattern recognition. And I realize that when you create a chief artificial intelligence officer program to oversee all private, business that runs hardware or software via AI, and you're going to have a government individual there all the time, that's CAIO, you will always be able to audit that technology and then suppress it if you like. And let me repeat this, the only exceptions will be within your own intelligence apparatus, your own national security apparatus, your own military-industrial complex apparatus. That's not freedom. That's not an open market. That isn't even like the facade of capitalism. That is tech Technofascism. Say it with me now. Technofascism. Full stop. There isn't another definition for it. Okay? CAIO program. So this is happening now. And at the same time, as you know, we're being corralled into this, okay? And I think this is important to understand. These figureheads of artificial intelligence are also getting into the space race. It's not just the Muskernuts. It's not just Big Daddy Bezos. No. Altman is looking to get into the rocket business. So the future is now, and the narrative is being set. So now let's talk about memory, okay? Memory prices surge, ripples through China's smartphone supply chain, hits MediaTek and Xiaomi. Now, this is in October. Right around late September, I'd already seen hard drive prices go through the roof. Like, whoa, I went to buy like a 2 terabyte hard drive. I'm like, whoa, thought these things are supposed to go down. But then in September, the RAM prices went through the roof. And by the way, when we're talking about graphics cards, they also incorporate RAM of different types. So for instance, although most of my PCs run with 32 to 64 gigabytes of RAM, DDR4 through DDR5, I know I'm speaking Spanish to some people here, okay? There's also a thing called VRAM, and my card right now has 8 gigabytes of VRAM on it. Now, as I stated, crucial. First of all, there were only 4 major companies making RAM. Now it was down to 3 companies making RAM for consumers. And I have a ton of Crucial stuff. From RAM to hard drives, I've bought Crucial over the years. After 30 years, it's going to stop the sale to consumers. And like the best I can find is like a Reuters article on it. And that's because the money is in creating RAM for these AI data centers and these big mega corporations beholden to the CAIO techno-fascistic program, okay? So I want to show you some other things right here really quickly. Well, let's just get into money. Real actual money, okay? Luckily, that is no longer my address, so you guys can have at it. Don't mail to that address. You won't find me there. I don't live there, but it's there. This is my old address. Geez, I better make sure now that none of my I don't think any of my new addresses will be on there, but we'll find out in a second, and I'll take a break. But as you can see, this RAM right here, okay, 32 gigabytes. I'm not pulling any tricks. Under $100, $90. Okay? October of 2023. Okay? October of 2023. What's it now? $240. That's like a 250% increase. Okay? It's not quite triple. Didn't quite triple. Triple would have been 270. Okay? 240 before tax for the same exact RAM. Not pulling any tricks. All right, let me just make sure these order details are the same. Okay, so it's the old address, doesn't really matter. Let's just look at this one at a time, okay? Now, I got a 2 terabyte hard drive at $60.99, right? I also got this other 2 terabyte hard drive at $120, but it's portable. You know, it's for the road. I get it. It's going to be a little pricier. I understand that I'm paying that for the USB. Let's see where we're at on the prices now. And by the way, $20 for a 256 SD card. And everybody knows SD cards. More people are familiar with that because some of them still like if you're not on the Apple kick, if you're on the Android kick, and you have the option for storage, some of you guys have bought those things. Okay, so even that $20 for 256 gigabytes. Okay, even that should have come down. Let's take a look. $149. $150. Paid $60 for it. More than double the price. Where are you seeing anybody talking about this? $150 for Now they've evened out, but again, this was 120. Didn't go down in price, went up in price. Still went up in price. And then even the card I paid $20 for is up to 27. Is anybody else paying attention? And I just want to show, I typed in global RAM shortage to illustrate that nobody's talking about this other than tech YouTubers. Okay? I think I saw the thing about Micron with TechLink, which is an offshoot of Linus Tech Tips, right? So let's take a look. I typed in global RAM shortage, no filters. I'm going to show you a filtered one in a minute. The RAM shortage comes for us all. They're talking about Lenovo, Samsung, Raspberry Pis, Micron announcing exit of the business, Apple saying don't worry about it. Yeah, right. RAM shortage gets worse. RAM shortage. Is this the beginning of the end of the consumer? Jay's 2 cents 2 weeks ago. I'm with you, Jay. RAM, WTF. These are huge YouTubers, right? The RAM crisis is going to break the gaming industry. Where's the mainstream talking about this? RAM price crisis, the next GPU shortage, and it's weird. All this stuff, by the way, I didn't put anything in, is over the last month or less. Most of it within the last week. RAM prices are exploding soon, and GPUs and SSDs are next. They already have started, right? So now let's put some parameters on it, okay? Take a look. Okay, so now I put in RAM shortage news over the last month. Not one mainstream story. Not one. And in fact, the one that I was focused on over here, and it's a ways down, it's this right here. I talk about artificial intelligence and AI slop everywhere. This came up in the algorithm, less than 400 views, IZ. This to me is an AI-created account with AI-created content. And we're going to show it to you because the mainstream media has refused to do a simple breakdown, but somebody utilizing AI, yes, I understand the irony, has broken it down rather well. So here's some AI-driven slop on why RAM and SSD prices are rising in 2025.
So, you were thinking about upgrading your PC, right? Maybe you're finally building that dream rig. Yeah, you might want to hold off on that. Because, like it or not, we've all just been drafted into the AI Hunger Games. And trust me, your wallet is the first thing on the chopping block. Seriously, what is going on here? Why are the prices for parts we all need, like RAM and SSDs, suddenly shooting through the roof again? I mean, didn't we just get through the last component crisis?
Exactly. We all breathed this huge sigh of relief when graphics card prices finally came back down to earth. We thought, okay, the nightmare's over. Turns out, that was just the intermission. There's a new player in town, and it's a giant that's buying up all the good stuff and leaving us, well, the scraps.
All right, let's just pull back the curtain and name the culprit, shall we? The one force driving this whole new price surge is something you hear about every single day. Yep, artificial intelligence. Now here's the part that I think a lot of people miss. AI isn't just some magical code floating around in the cloud. It runs on massive, very real physical hardware. We're talking about data centers the size of cities that need enough power to light up entire countries, and they are starving for computer parts. This crazy appetite is putting an unbelievable strain on the entire global supply chain.
And this quote right here, it just nails the new reality. These AI giants, they have ridiculously deep pockets, and they need this hardware so badly that they will pay any price. They aren't looking for a sale. This means they set the starting price and the final price for everybody else. For regular people like us, PC builders, you name it, we don't get a vote. We just have to pay whatever they say. So what is this food that AI is just devouring like there's no tomorrow? Well, it's a very specific and incredibly powerful type of memory. Let's talk about HBM, the absolute superfood of the entire AI industry. HBM, it stands for high bandwidth memory. And the real magic here is that 3D stacked structure. Okay, think about it like this. The normal RAM in your PC is like a 2-lane road. HBM, it's like stacking 10 superhighways on top of each other, all leading straight to the processor. It's an information autobahn built for one thing, the brutal, data-hungry job of training massive AI models. And this chart just lays it all out. That DDR5 RAM in your gaming PC, Yeah, it's fast, no doubt. But then you look over at the row for bandwidth. HBM is playing a completely different sport. It's not for your laptop, it's for those monster AI accelerators from NVIDIA and Google. And as you can see on that last row, it's got a price tag to match. How different a price are we talking? Well, a single unit of HBM costs about 5 times more than the standard DDR5 you'd put in your PC. 5 times. Now, just for a second, pretend you're a manufacturer with limited factory space. Which one are you going to choose to make? The answer to that simple business question is pretty much the root of this entire problem.
And that leads us straight into the domino effect. Because that one simple decision to chase the insane profits of HBM, it kicks off a chain reaction that comes crashing right down on you, me, and every other person buying tech out there. This quote from Klaus Oschholm is just brutally honest. Chip manufacturers don't have infinite space, so to make more of the super profitable HBM, they have to steal that production capacity from something else. And like he says, there's really only one place to take it from: the assembly lines that make the DDR5 RAM and the NAND flash for our PCs and SSDs. And the pressure for these companies to make that switch is just immense. I mean, look at this chart. Demand for HBM is set to grow by almost 200% this year alone, and it's on track to double again in 2025. That's not a trend, my friends, that is an explosion. And what makes it even crazier is that this entire market is basically controlled by just 3 companies: SK Hynix, Micron, and Samsung. That's it. So when these 3 decide to pivot to HBM, the entire market feels that shockwave instantly. There's nobody else who can just step in and pick up the slack for us consumers. So let's just connect the dots, step by step. Step 1. The AI giants roll up with dump trucks full of cash for HBM. Step 2. The chip makers, who aren't dummies, shift their factories away from consumer stuff to chase those huge profits. Step 3. The supply of the parts we actually need, DDR5 RAM and SSDs, starts to dry up. And step 4, well, you know how supply and demand works. Less stuff, same number of people wanting it, prices go to the moon for everybody. And we're not talking about a small bump here. These are the official forecasts. The regular DRAM for your PC is expected to jump by a wild 18 to 23%. Your SSD, a 5 to 10% hike. And this isn't some far-off prediction. These price increases are happening right now.
Let me just stop. Again, this is all AI-driven slop. And you notice he talked about 2024 into 2025. 2025 is almost over. I just showed you, it ain't 18 to 23%. Okay? Doubling and almost tripling in some cases. But other than that, at least it's talking about the artificial intelligence. And again, when this slop was produced, it didn't have Micron already shifting to that high capacity RAM and taking it away from DDR5 and not doing any commercial RAM production.
And hey, if you're sitting there thinking, well, I don't build PCs, so I'm good, I've got some bad news. This kind of memory is in everything. It's in your phone, your new car, your smart TV. If it has a screen or a circuit board, it's affected. The AI boom is basically putting a hidden tax on every single piece of modern tech we buy. So, what's the bottom line for us? What does the future of tech even look like for the average person when we're all fighting over the scraps left behind by the AI industry? Well, the reality is pretty rough. First off, any tech upgrades you have planned are going to cost more, period. Second, don't be shocked if new phones, laptops, even game consoles get delayed because companies can't get the parts. And here's the real kicker. This is not a short-term thing. HBM supply is already sold out through 2025 and even into 2026. What we're seeing is a great divide, where the absolute best tech is reserved for AI, and the rest of us, we get what's left.
Do you hear that? That's exactly, and an AI video is telling you that the predator class, the powers that shouldn't be, are prioritizing AI over humanity. That's the whole story. And we're seeing it again and again and again. Folks, we're wrapping this one, but I really, again, I can't emphasize it. I know it's the holiday season. I want to thank all the mini Santa Clauses out there. Joey, thank you for buying me a coffee last night. $5, $10, $15, it means the world to me. Again, I am not able to do this without you guys. We are trying to gear it up. It's so hard without a paycheck. That's why I loved it when, I was doing interview after interview after interview via patriot.tv, even though I didn't share a lot of the views with my guests, right? That's why I loved it when I was on TNT. Shout out to Adam Clark, who I see in the chat, my man. It was great that I had this 2-hour format where, again, I was interviewing 4 different people on the daily, 5 days a week. I loved that. Now we're back to old school Bermas Brigade. Every once in a while, we do get a big interview, but we do the big breakdowns no one else is doing. While everyone else out there is talking about conservatives and liberals and ICE and all that other Johnny nonsense, sure, it has a place. We're talking about the future of humanity. We're talking about the future of technology. We're talking about transhumanism and artificial intelligence in a way you're not seeing anywhere else. So I hope that you value that and you find it in your heart to support this broadcast. You can also support it by sharing all the documentary films for free down below. Invisible Empire, A New World Order Defined, Shade the Motion Picture, and then the 9/11 films, Loose Change Final Cut, and Fabled Enemies, because folks, as you know, it is not about left or right. It is always about right and wrong. I absolutely love you guys, and I will see you all on the flip side.